It's real bad for a while, but then we went on that nice run.
Kirk, I believe you're muted.
Have I been talking this whole time and you guys haven't heard a word I've been saying?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'll start over. This play's got some stuff in it, and punt plays are notorious for having we don't have enough eyes to cover all 22 players moving in all different directions and players that probably are trying to make a name for themselves. The thing I want to focus on is this hold on the near gunner. And the hold is more of a throw down, and we see this a lot of times where you just grab and then sling him to the ground. My comment here is sometimes if we get this early in the game, and unless the ball goes into the end zone, chances are it's not a huge impact. We're going to bring it back 10 yards from the infraction. But we a lot of times we'll pass on these because they're maybe away from the play. And this one also, there's another, the umpire, I thought he threw the flag on the block in the back right in front of him, but I watched the brim of his hat, and I'll stop this if you watch the umpire's bill of his hat, he's watching action, and it must be a face mask or something right in front of him. Well, shoot, I didn't get that stopped. I'm going to go back to... If you watch the umpire, he's watching. He must see something like a face mask about right in here, or something's going on. He's looking at that block right in front of him. I was giving him credit because this one of these blockers here is going to cleanly block this guy right here in the back. We should have had a flag on that. I'm positive he didn't see that one because he was throwing a flag on something else. I think it's hard for us to see all of the action, but we've got to be disciplined to not ball watch and get eyes in front of the ball carrier, watch the play develop, have stable feet or stationary feet. We see so much more. We're not moving around. This play, I think, probably had 4 potential flags on it. And it's just an emphasis on the punt game. Let's not ball watch. We've got to get eyes, seeing it develop, seeing the play develop. Where is the potential for problems in it? All right, so I'm going to jump to the next play. Oh, hold on. All right, play number 8, and I've got a couple definitions for you all, and it's probably way too small. I haven't figured out how to make this a larger print on this huddle setup, but the message is targeting. And targeting in the rule book is an act by any player taking aim and initiating contact against an opponent above the shoulders with the helmet, forearm, hand, fist, elbow, or shoulder. So it's contact above the shoulders. And then I'm also including the defenseless player definition is defined as a player who, because of his physical position and focus of concentration, is especially vulnerable to injury. And so the message there in defenseless is if we have a defenseless player, we're on high alert that the act that is going to happen to him needs to be totally legal and within reason, that it's not a punishing blow. So the play that I want to show you, and we're going to have a poll on this. I'll pop this up as soon as you guys watch this real quick. We're going to have a punt. Punt is returned. And if it's not super smooth on your end, you are going to see him get blown up right there. It jars the ball loose, but he is full speed, and I think we can all agree that that return man is a defenseless player. Now, the things that happened to him were on high alert, that they have to be legal and not an intent to punish. So I'm going to ask you all with this poll. The question is, if you guys click on that triangle down in the corner, do you have no foul, personal foul targeting for an unnecessary roughness, or are we going to eject this K player? If I were to, and I have slowed it down, if I were to slow it down, I do not believe there was any contact above the shoulders. Not that that is necessarily an influence in this particular result, but he didn't lead with the helmet. I believe his shoulder made the contact. He did not hit him above the shoulders. I'm looking at about 22 votes. Got about 7 say no foul, good play, and 17 say we either have a personal foul, and again, this happened so fast you could possibly see him make contact above the head. I think the head snaps a little bit, but he does mow him over. So it looks like we've got about 2-1. We're not going to eject him, and I think that's a fair in this particular case. I think if he launched at the head, I think you probably would eject him. I don't see him launching, and I don't see him going to the head. So we got about 2-1 foul. Now, I will say this. If you ask any coach that's not on the field right now on this particular play, they probably all would accept that as a foul because they don't want their return man out for the season. They would want that removed from the game. Not saying that's the right call here. I'm just saying I'd be surprised if there's any coach that says, nah, that's just football. Let them play ref. Maybe there is. Maybe that's a little bit bold for me to say no coach would. But I think you'd be hard-pressed to have a coach argue that that's a terrible call for that brutal hit. All right. I'm going to end that poll. So we got about 2-1. We got a flag versus no foul. All right, next play. Oh, I didn't realize we have an end zone shot of this as well. I doubt this changes anybody's opinion, and maybe we don't even have it on the film. That actually doesn't look as violent from the end zone shot. He just hits him in the chest. I will say when you have a defenseless player, I like to see somebody wrap him up if he's going to be a ball carrier, as opposed to lowering the shoulder. In this case, he kind of looks like he does get his arms partially around him as he's lowering the shoulder in. Oh, go ahead, Jake.
I just got a question. So when it comes to punt returns like this, do the guys receiving the punt, do they have like that halo of protection that they should also be given?
We do not have in high school the word halo. There is no surrounding space. There's no measurement that we utilize. And feel free, Hickey, to jump in here. But the rule book speaks to they have to have an unadulterated access to catching the football. They cannot
opportunity to catch.
It's like unaffected opportunity to catch the ball. So yeah, uninhibited. Thank you, Randy.
Okay, yeah. So like if you got into his way when he was trying to go and field it, then
it's probably the same message, halo. I mean, we just don't use that term. There is no measured space, but yeah, he has uninhibited access to that football.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, let's jump to the next play. Then back judge is not my forte, so I rely on some of these other guys. Is that Juranic? Go ahead, Juranic.
Hey, was there a flag thrown on that one, Kurt, at all?
Yes. The headlinesman threw it.
Was it personal foul, or what? Or what did he throw for that?
Don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
Thank you.
All right, next play, we're going to talk about a similar situation. Now we've got a pass to the flat. Doesn't catch the ball and gets a shoulder driven into his chest. Probably also considered a defenseless player. His attention is not on, or his focus is on catching this ball. Gets driven into. And so same question, although I don't have targeting in here because we had no contact anywhere near the head. We got no foul or personal foul hit on a defenseless player. You want to leave this alone or you want to throw a flag on this one? Please vote. Everybody vote if you can. If you weren't listening early on, those the triangle down in the lower right corner, the triangle square circle. If you click on that, it'll bring up a poll or a list of items, and you can click the polls and then vote on this. Let me know if you got no foul or personal foul. Looks like we're about 2-1. No foul. I think I would probably leave this one alone as well. For some reason, I'm thinking a receiver trying to catch a ball in the flat here is a little bit different than that return man whose eyes are up in the air and probably more vulnerable. If there was a more of a defenseless player, I think that return man is probably more defenseless than this player. So it looks like about 2-1. And my goal here is consistency, as in my message inviting you all to this story. It just us being more consistent and on the same page, the better. So if you're in the 10 vote, consider maybe this is a no foul play. All right, turning that one off, going to play 10. This one we're going to talk about a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. This is not a slam. But you can see the referee throws the flag at the end of the play. Well, I may not have given you guys the numbers on the last one. So now, and some of you might say, well, when was the whistle blown? And a lot of times we'll say the whistle does not end the play. And I even asked myself when I was putting this together, thinking, well, does the whistle have an impact on whether we throw the flag here or not? And I think on this play, I think it's irrelevant because of the action that we're looking at. So at what point should this tackler end his act and not continue to drive him back and put a shoulder into him on the turf? So do you like a personal foul or no foul on this play? Obviously, the near coaching staff is not happy with the flag. Surprise, surprise. I'm guessing number 3 is also a wrestler. He likes that single leg takedown. So we're a little closer to 50-50 here. 3-2. In my mind, I've got a foul on this. I think this is an unnecessary act at the end of this. The tackle is over. He doesn't have to continue driving him backwards, lifting, and pile driving him into the ground. My gut tells me that this is an unnecessary act, but I can see why it's about a 50-50 on our vote. It's not super clear to me. Now, if there was a whistle right when that leg got lifted, it certainly has a little bit more influence on maybe the decision. But that lift and continuing to drive backwards is probably a little bit aggressive. But yeah, not surprised on the poll results, 50-50. All right, I'm going to end that one. I don't think that's going to give us any more than we already saw. All right, this one's a little bit tougher. We got the drone footage, and we're going to look at a gunner here. And again, I think what we're going to see is that whole sling, takedown, throw thing. And they both are involved in it. It's just like that wrestling match that we see on punt plays. Let me back it up again, and then I'll turn on the so we're looking at that right side gunner one more time while I get this set up. Watch. Even though I think the K player ultimately throws him to the ground, I think most of the action on the holding was. I do give that number 28 a lot of credit. He works hard as a return player blocking, but does look like he was holding on pretty tight. So, what do we got? Holding or no foul? And I hope it's not too choppy for you all. Looks like we got about 2-1, 3-1 hold on this. And I think we always talk about mechanics. Where are we looking? That head linesman there, we say leave when the ball is kicked. We've got a lot of things to do before we leave. One, we got to make sure that ball does not bounce back behind the line of scrimmage, doesn't get blocked, because you're the only one that can tell the rest of the crew whether that ball was picked up by the K player behind the line of scrimmage, or if the wind blew it back, you're the only one that knows where that ball was possessed by K or R relative to that line of scrimmage. So not only are we needing to stay back and make sure that happens, but our eyes are on that gunner. He's yours. You got to make sure he's not holding. So got to be officiating something. Too many times I see that wing official just put his head down and start running like I got to get to the new location and then I can start officiating. But instead, we should be moving relatively slow, about 7 to 10 yards downfield, setting up and watching the action. All right, looks like we're about 4-1 on that. 24 votes for holding, and I think that's, again, I think we probably don't call that enough on these punt plays. All right, ending that one and jumping to the next play, play number 12. Okay, this one, it may be a little bit harder for you all to see because of the choppy video, but I'm looking at the quarterback. Quarterback kind of leaning forward, and so my question is, are you guys going to throw on this or let this ride? Switch this and launch. So I've got no foul or false start on the quarterback. And it's sometimes as a white hat hard to see timing wise whether he's rolling forward. Certainly it's better to have our feet planted as white hats as opposed to still walking back. It happens. They snap it pretty quick. You have, so the question is, do you have false start or no foul? Looks like we've got mostly false starts on that. Just a couple no fouls. I think the proper one here is we would want to get this. I'm pretty sure this white team's head coach is screaming at the white hat. He's not set. He's moving forward. He's moving at the snap. So I think both teams, I know that if you threw on this, the black team's head coach is yelling at his quarterback to not do that. So he sees it. All right, next play. Play 13. All right, this is one of my favorites. This made its round several times. A lot of you guys are probably going to remember this. This is going to be a punt play all the way down to the goal line. And keep in mind these return guys are gamers. They're great athletes. He reaches down to pick up this ball. Advance this. Got the punt. Ball is rolling around, and that return man decides, I'm going to grab this and take off. And in doing so, gets hit, and the ball goes into the end zone. So I'll launch this, and we're going to look for an answer to this. Do you have a fumble by I said team B, it probably should be team R, but fumble by the defense that goes into the end zone, therefore a touchdown, or do you have a muff by the, I said defense, a muff by the return team? And if it's a muff, that means it's still in kick status and therefore it becomes a touchback. So is this a possession, fumble, score by B, or muff by, not B, muff by R and touchback? And just remember, the only way K can score on this is if you rule that this ball was possessed and fumbled into the end zone. Otherwise, the ball is still in kick status. Therefore, it crossed the goal line and we've got a touchback. All right, looks like they ended up, I will share with you that they ended up ruling a touchdown, came down and talked about it and said, no, he did not have possession. We're going to go touchback. And as you can imagine, the crowd was not happy with that decision. I think I might have even seen Sal Marini on this call tonight. Sal and I were sitting together watching this, and we had that look at each other and said, oh my. And of course, the crowd around us just went absolutely bananas, along with the head coach running on the field, screaming at the crew in the white hat. So the proper answer to this, I believe, is a touchback because the possession was not enough. He has got to have enough time to possess this. It isn't enough just to grab it and lift. There's an element of time that exists. And so I agree with the muff touchback on this one. But there was a lot of debate on that. I'm surprised it wasn't closer in this poll. All right, number 14, and I probably will wrap this up real quick. Let me take a look at this one. Actually, is this the one that's got the good view of it? Yep, we've got a muff, and therefore a touchback. All right, I think this might be my last one of the night. All right, you see the helmet come off of number, can't see his number right there, 62. So I'm going to launch this one and ask you, his helmet comes off, he runs downfield. The book says when your helmet comes off, it's a foul if you continue to participate in the play. I'm not sure what I would expect 62 to do. Do I just have him stand there and get run over by his back that's catching the screen pass? Do you go no foul, or are you going to bang him for participating here? Because the rule book says helmet off. If you continue to participate, you've got a flag. As it turns out, this is East High School. Their coach sent this to me and said, you can see the helmet gets ripped off his head by the face mask. It was not seen by the umpire. It happened so fast, it's kind of hard to see that even happened. But all right, we've got, wow, it's closer than I thought, about 50-50 on no foul, a little bit more no foul than illegal participation. He certainly didn't go block somebody. If he made contact, that would be an easier call. He just moved downfield, probably wisely away from the action because that ball was going to get passed right at his feet. All right, I do have to do one more. All right, I'm going to take you guys to the next play in that poll. All right, we've got catch, no catch, or catch, fumble, or incomplete. If this field doesn't look familiar, it's because it's out of California. All right, we're going to look at this near sideline. Is it a catch and a fumble, or is it incomplete pass? Again, it's probably extra choppy on your end, which makes it a little bit harder to see. Looks like with 20 some votes in, boy, it's getting a little closer to 50-50. I'm going to get a little preachy on this play and say this. If we are, and as this is an example, we are about 50-50 incomplete versus catch fumble, then that means this should be an incomplete pass. We need to be able to say it was no doubt a catch and a fumble. When we at the high school level have this happen, we need to say, yep, all 5 of us, if we saw the same angle, we would say it is incomplete. And this one, I want us to say this is incomplete. It's not enough time for him to have absolute possession, and we all agree that it was a catch. So when in doubt, I think I saw a comment pop up, when in doubt, we're going to say incomplete pass. Let's not give a cheap turnover to the defense because of we think it's a catch or not. You may think it's 100%, but think if we don't globally all believe it was a catch and a fumble, it should be an incomplete pass. So with that, I'm going to end our poll. Looks like we were just about 50-50 on that, which was my goal, to get some plays up here that we're about 50-50 on. So thank you all for your participation tonight. Enjoy the rest of the Monday Night Football game. Our NFL guys are doing a great job. Scott Novak and Terrence Miles are on the game that you guys are watching, the New York-Pittsburgh game. So they are the best. We might get Terrence on before the end of the season. So thank you all for joining. We'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, Kurt. See you, bud.